this afternoon. I'm very happy to welcome Mademoiselle Cherie Laurent. She's an international artist, been all over the world, and she is from Arabic origins. This is correct, Cherie?
Arabic and Persian, actually. My dad is Iranian and my mom is from Iraq, Baghdad. But she's
Yes,
half French too. So I've got European, Persian, Arabs all mixed together. The advantage is I speak so many languages, I think, and I have a very ambiguous looks that could work in a lots of countries, especially when I'm
correct.
acting. Yeah.
Correct. Before we speak about your artistic career, tell me a little bit how did you get interested into the arts, your childhood, your family?
My family is very artistic, and that's including my mom and dad. I'm number nine, so I have four brothers, four sisters, and most of my brothers are used to paint, and also all my sisters, either in fashion or also as a
Yes.
painter. So I grew up in a very creative environment from a very early age. I got spotted for a TV commercial by the age of 5, and that was the start. I used to love films, and my mom always used to say I was glued to the TV. I used to watch all the films when I was a kid and memorize the script. And after the film, and apparently I was to go and act the lead character to my mom and dad. So there was a
Hmm.
lots of passion. And then I am a painter. I used to paint a lots of times since an early age. I think I still have some sketches from the age of 5 that I was managed to paint the human figure of a female perfectly.
Hmm.
So I started exhibiting every year, and I was getting an award from the age of 9 until the age of 26. Every year I was always number one prize for painting. And then I got into graphic design and
Hmm.
photography. My dad loved photography. He took us all the time to art galleries. So I spent a lot of time getting lost in art galleries, and also when I was a kid. And then I was exhibiting myself. I was known as the painter in university. And when I start mixing photography with movement, with music, that sparkled the love of films, and
Hmm.
that's what got me to films. So at the beginning, I was doing modeling and small part of acting in school, and then it becomes bigger when I decided to make my first short film. And I didn't have a budget at that time, so I made a short film as 10 minutes, and I submitted to 15 film festivals and went to the final. I got interviewed over 5 times on TV, and that was my first film. My second film did the same. My third film did the same. So one day, a lady she called me because I was doing a musical theater, and I loved performing. So I started producing something called Cherie Laurent Industry Night, which is mixed fashion and film. And I
Yes.
invited a very long list of the A-list people, which I didn't know. I just got the A-list from an agency, and I invited them to come and watch my performance. Obviously, I had 60 dancers at that time, and that's a long story how I got them and how I trained them. So this lady, she came to 3 of my show. I was performing on the stage, and she called me in this afternoon in Sydney, and she said, I've been watching you from a distance. I love your shows. I love your fashion. I love everything you do. Can you come up with a TV show? And at that time, I was in a shock really because she's a very high profile. So when she comes and asks me to produce a TV show, obviously I just said, yes, of course. And then I realized
Yes.
I committed myself to something I never done before. I've done short films, but TV shows are different because every week you have to come up with a new concept and you have to deliver to a network. So I remember I called one of my friends and I said, blah 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 called me. Can you believe that? And he said, yes, I heard. And she said she invited me to have my own TV show on a TV station. and I don't know what to do. And he said to me, Cherie, if anybody could pull a TV show, it's you. You are a TV show. Look at everything you do. Look at the photography. Look at the fashion. Look at the music you make. You are a TV show. Just make a TV show about your life. And that's how it started.
Yes.
And that was 2006. And until just 1 month ago, when I moved to the United States, I have 15 season, over 200 episodes on two network in Australia on Roku TV. Do you get Roku TV where you are?
No, I think we can get it, yes, on our television, on one of the applications.
Yeah, it's on Roku TV, it's on Amazon Fire TV, and obviously YouTube that goes all around, but also on TV station. And just at the beginning of the year, I signed contract with a streaming network called Get Happy in California, and they start showing the show on this network. So it's getting bigger and bigger. In the meantime, I was offered to come to United States to take the show further, and
Yes.
also my music. I was signed with an agent and a manager, and they got me on O1 visa, which is extraordinary
Yes.
talent with
Uh,
extraordinary achievement. And
mhm.
I've been here in LA for 3 weeks now. I've been
Really?
in America since, yeah, and I've been in America. I arrived to Florida because my sponsor was in Florida, and I needed to go through all the social security and bank account and ID card and all the paperwork to get me ready to work. So after I got all this
Yes.
done, now I moved to LA, and the first week I got corona for 10 days. And then
Sorry.
after that, I was
Yes.
involved in two car accidents. I have four cars smashed to the back of my car on the motorway. So that
In
took some time
California.
in California, in LA. And the
Uh-huh.
first accident was hit and run by a big truck. And I was shocked because they never even stopped. They just kept driving. And I have a rent car,
Yes.
so I took it to replace it. I was driving it from the rental place to my apartment in Beverly Hills, and I have four
Hmm.
cars smashed to the back of my car. Um, Crazy LA drivers. So now I'm trying to get over all this and get back to business. So I went to like four auditions already, and today after this I have a meeting with a movie director. So things start
Excellent.
happening now. Yeah.
Great. Sherry, this is your artistic name or your real name?
That's my artistic name. My real name is Shireen, which is Arabic
Hmm.
name. But
Oh,
because
yes.
my mom always called me Mashri, which is my love or my darling in
Yeah.
French. So that was the
Yeah.
name of my first pet. I used to have a cat. I called it Mashri. And then people found it difficult to pronounce Shireen. And I
Shireen.
worked as a model in Paris. And when I used to say my name is Shireen, they used to say,
Hmm.
Cherie.
Sherry.
And I said, okay, I'll go with Cherie, it's easier. But when I came to America or even in Australia, they could not pronounce Cherie because Cherie is
Hmm.
Cherie in France. But here
Yes.
they call it Cherry or Shirley
Yes.
or, and it takes a long time trying to make them understand. They always spell it with CH. It's actually
Yes.
SH, it's CH.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
always say it's the French way, chérie. The only people who pronounced it right was Paris and Amsterdam. They said it right
Of
because
course.
it's German. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Me, my wife called me Sherry Tambia. Also, my wife,
Yeah.
not Sherif. Also, it's a little bit long for Latinos.
Yeah. I
Yes.
have a meeting with someone from Israel, and
Yes.
he was referring to me as Mashri because my TV show called Mashri. And then he
Yes.
said, if my wife heard me calling you Mashri, she will I love this. The name of the show. So I hope it becomes part of my life always,
Yes.
verified by my show. In Australia, when I go in public, lots of people and fans come running after me, calling me Cherie, Cherie, Cherie. I was like, that's the name of my
Right.
show. I'm only Cherie. But it doesn't matter as long as they remembered. Yeah.
Yes. But Sherry, I see that you did some music videos. I saw some of them on your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and on your
Yeah.
website. You have your own website, macheritv.com. D'accord?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, did you compose them yourself, the lyrics, the music, or do you have
Um,
assistant from other artists?
I write the lyrics myself. I have a vision
Uh-huh.
of what I want in the music. I'm very specific about everything, and I work with a music producer through one of the most well-known recording studio in Melbourne called Melodic. I don't know if you know, there's an artist called Kylie, one of the biggest
Yes.
artists of Australia, and they all recorded in this studio, and that's the studio I use for recording. I work with a producer called Peter B, and I've been working with him for 3 years. So we
Yes.
sit together, and I always, it's like making a cooking recipe. So I will say, this is the melody, that's the lyrics. I normally sing it with my voice to him because I don't play an instrument, but I will say, I want piano. I was classically trained as an opera singer. So my background was
Yes.
fully classic. So I love violin, and I love the sound of piano, and I like cello. So I always try to add all these big, heavy instruments, but also my voice is more rock, and I have a lots
Yes.
of uh, anger and passion in my singing. Before I used to sing for a long time, but now I decided to go to the rock. So I love rock singing. I did pop when I was younger, but the more I getting to what I call rock,
Yes.
which I love to create music like the band Queen or Guns N' Roses or
Yes.
Freddie Mercury. A lot of their song, they have a great composition of music that accompany the voice, and it takes you in
Yes.
a journey. And
Of
that's what I
course.
like. I'm not really much into technical music. I like real music. So now, because we have something called Fiverr, and
Yes.
Fiverr, it makes you find some of the greatest musicians around the world. So where
Yes.
the person who play cello, he's from America. The person who always play electric guitar from the Ukraine. The person who play the piano from England. So we always find the best people in the industry. We do the sample, and then we send it to them, and then they will play it perfectly. And the final always I would be happy with. And then I will take it to the next stage with making my music videos.
Yes.
And that's why I felt it's a big challenge, because I normally work with no budget or a very limited budget. Person. And like this year, I produced 70 music videos in a very short time. So I have to make them different and fantastic in the whole time. So that's also pushed me to become more creative, and that's why I change my looks all the time. So one of them,
Yes.
I'm blonde, I'm redheaded, I'm dark-headed, different costume, different looks. Um, just try to explore what I could bring more to the characters of the song that depend on the
Of
story of the
course.
song. Yeah.
Yes. And Sherry, you mentioned your short film. Was it Broken Wing Desire? This is the one? This is your short film or something else?
Broken Wing Desire, that's a long film, that's a 75-minute film. And that's went
Uh-huh.
to New York Film Festival. And the story was a true story about a girl from India. I met in Sydney. She was Indian. Her mom and dad arrived to Australia as an immigrant, and the moment they arrived, the dad died with a heart attack, and then the woman as a dressmaker to grow the girl. So the girl was mostly growing up in a very discriminated environment in Australia, trying to follow her culture, and that was a big
Yes.
challenge for her. So when I met this girl and she told me about her story, it was really beautiful story, and
Yes.
a lot of people relate to it. And then after that, basically, she get to the point because she grew up in Australian culture with all her friends. They're all dating boys by the age of 15, and they're having sex, but she has to stay virgin because that's her religion. So obviously, she get pushed out, and then she started getting the pressure of arranged marriage from her mother, which so the guy was on a dating website from Philippines, I think was, or Singapore. So she traveled
Singapore.
there and marry him and bring him back to Australia. The story changed to become. Sorry, my phone has never stopped texting. Hold,
Yes.
I apologize.
Yes.
Just let me put it on silent. So it becomes his story as a new immigrant trying to fit in a new culture, which is like
Yes.
me now. Like I came from Australia where everything was amazing because I'm celebrity, everyone knows who I am. When you are on TV 3 nights a week, you get. I took it for granted, and I realized it's now when I came to LA because no one knows who I am. And I was like,
Yes.
wow, people actually treat me this way. And it's very difficult and different, let's say. So I'm trying
Of
to
course.
adjust. People who knew who I am, they respect me and treat me well. But I was trying to get California driver license the day before yesterday, and I went to the place where you get
Hmm.
the driver license, and talking to some of the women there or the employee was I wasn't used to that because in Australia
Of
wherever
course.
I go, I get treated as a VIP,
Yes.
and I think I got used to it for years. So to come back and you are at the end of the queue and you get spoken down to you was a civilized shock. And I've done this few times in my life because I moved so many different times in my life. And
Yes.
so when I met this girl with her boyfriend's story and her story as a new immigrant, that's what I really loved. So that was a Broken Wings desire. Recently, the last film I made, which is a feature film, was Free Me From You. And that's about true story about violence against women. Because
Yes.
when I lived in Australia, every week there's two women getting killed by their husband or boyfriends, and it's a
Yes.
really big problem in Australia. Also, it was a big problem in New Zealand, and I'm sure it happened here. So I
Yes.
support women rights, and I try to stop violence against women. So this movie I made, which I played the lead in it, and it was about different type of abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and why women stuck in a relationship where they could get killed, and why would
Yes.
they accept it without trying to change it and get out and run away before it's too late. And that starts from the beginning, choosing the wrong partner. And all these subjects
Yes.
get talking about in the film. So my films are quite serious, and it's all related to real life. Um, it has a lot of drama in it, but people get involved because everyone knows someone has gone through this, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
But yes, go ahead, please.
yeah. So that's what my but also lots of art films. So I love
Yes.
taking people in a journey. So I like to tell a story by music and visuals so people could translate it based on how they feel. And it's like when I used to paint surrealism. So when you
Hmm.
paint surrealism, every person will look at the painting and translate it based on their way of thinking. And I remember I used to hide behind people who come to the exhibition and listen to their interpretation of my painting. And at the same
Yes.
time, with anything art, the artist put work out there, and it's up to the viewers to translate it to what they like and what they feel. So even when it comes to fashion, when it comes to everything, some people hate it, some people love it, some people relate to it, and I love hearing the feedback from the audience. What do they think? What is the story? What is the inspiration? How do I make them feel? I get a kick from that. That's what I love. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And Sherry, I want to ask you about two things. When you left the Middle East, it was easy for you, I mean, or it was, a bit challenging because we know Iraq was in two wars, of course, and it was very a critic time. I remember we were following the news. We used to have many Egyptians and Arab working in Iraq already. So when you left Iraq, was it with your family, or it was difficult
No,
or easy?
it was a nightmare. It was really a nightmare because during, as I explained, I'm half Iranian. My dad is Iranian and my mom is Arab.
Yes.
My dad moved to Iraq when he was 9, so he speaks Iranian. But because the war, he never admitted to us that he was Iranian because he was scared that we would get hurt because people start discriminating Iranian people. And
Yes.
at that time, I didn't know that I was Iranian, but I don't look like Iraqis. I look more
Hmm.
like Iranian. I mean, you know what Iraqi people look like. So we stand
Hmm.
out like a sore thumb. We look Iranian. And I start getting discriminated in a very little age, like I was very little. And as a child, you don't understand it. But people
Hmm.
was referring to us as a traders. My auntie got deported with guns behind her. They took everything from her. They threw her on the border. And we spent our childhood running from house to house, hiding because we were scared that we're going to get deported and take everything from us and throw us on the border because they did this to lots of families that have Iranian, have Arabs. So my house in Baghdad has a missile, half of the house being destroyed. I made a a documentary film about it. It's called Dancing on Thorn, and it's a very painful documentary. It's about my childhood, and people when they watch this documentary, they get paralyzed. They can't move. Take them like 10 hours to move from their seats. And I got nominated for the best director for this movie because I used original footage I found from the news of Iraq about the missile that fall on my house and also footage of my house in Basra. So it was very critical for me to run away, and everyone thought I was crazy because, as we have a saying in Arab, I'm a house girl. I was very protected. I have a family that loved me, and I didn't know what life is outside. And I was very related to my mom and dad. I was the little one. So when I moved was a nightmare. I remember it took me 6 months. I was crying every night, homesick, missing my family. But then it's life. You have to basically, get tough. So you have to stand up and you have
Yes.
to look for work and you have to survive. And I think I have a word that I talked to my mom and I left. My mom and dad were crying. I was crying. There was a car waiting for me outside to make me escape. And I was really scared. And my dad held me and kissed me and he said, "Stay." And you have this feeling inside called destiny that you don't understand
Yes.
it, but you believe I have to go. I don't know why, but I have to follow my destiny. My destiny made me do that. And it's the same thing with coming to America. Everyone thought I was crazy because I've been on TV for 3 nights a week. I have a TV show. I have everything. Why would I want to come
Mhm.
to America and leave everything behind? But it's the same
Mhm.
feeling. I said, I don't know. It's just I have to come. There's something inside me telling me I must go. My destiny is here. The next step of my life
Mhm.
is here. So it was very difficult. But I remember I told my mom, I said, you believe in God. You brought me in a way that God's love always inside me, and I'm taking God with me. So God's
Yes.
gonna protect me, and I do believe that. Like, as example, when four cars slammed to the back of my car, I have a pain neck, I have a shoulder neck, I have a back neck, like a pain in my shoulder and my neck, and but I survived it because God was there, took care of me.
Yes.
And I always believe that if you believe in God, will take care of you. And I pray day and night, and I get my strength from God with me all the time. And that's what gives me strength. But about being hard, it's always hard. It's always hard. Um, I just recently called my mom 2 days ago, and I talked to my sister. And my sister said to me, my mom started uh, having, the memory. She's losing her memory. She can't remember who we are.
Yes.
And I talked to my
Mhm.
mom, and my mom did not know who I am. And that was very
Mhm.
painful. And
Mhm.
the same, life hits you with things, and then you just have to sit, pray, and say, okay, that's happened. She's getting older, and there's nothing I could do. I just have to love her and be ready that
Mhm.
she's gonna go soon. And I know it's gonna make me fall apart, but that's life. Life is never easy. You just have to be tough cookies, as they call us, to face everything.
Yes.
I hope was
Uh,
a good response.
yes, of course. Your mom, she lives right now in Australia or somewhere else?
No, no, my mom is still in Iraq. She live in
In
Baghdad.
Iraq. Beautiful.
She refused to
I
leave.
haven't. Yeah, she
Yeah,
refused to live there.
because
Mm-hmm.
my mom and dad is the biggest love story in my life. My mom was a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a virgin. He was 20. She was 16. They fall in love, and they have 9 children. She supports me through everything in life. And after
Mm-hmm.
60 years, he died in her arms. And she refused to leave because his body there, and she wanted to be buried next to him. And well, I wish to have the same thing. It's the biggest story of my life to believe in love.
Of
Unfortunately, in
course.
our generation, is it's very hard to find the same thing, and I still look for the same thing. And I have to realize I'm in a Western culture, and this thing maybe is not exist in our generation. Those generation is gone. This this
Yes.
type of love and commitment here is unfortunately you meet someone, you spend time with them. After 6 months, suddenly each one goes different direction. Um, it's not like my mom and dad.
Yes. Yeah, Cherie, I haven't visited Iraq, but in Egypt we used to be invited in the Iraqi embassy every year for the national, the holidays at the embassy, and we used to have in Cairo as well a big library for Iraqi's book.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of visiting Iran 5 years ago as a jury member in a festival in Tehran, and
Mm.
also the festival took us by car to different Iranian city. It's very beautiful there, by the way, Iran as well.
It's
And my
not.
love.
It's what's happening with the 21 years old girl that she died by the police beating her up. Um,
Yes.
that's what. makes me so angry. And I think
Yes.
one of the promises I made to myself, country like Iran, like Saudi Arabia, how women get treated there. Um, I don't really fancy going there, even like Iran. It's a beautiful country, I've been told. My family, some of them visited, and they were saying to me they're not even allowed to wear the color red. And if the scarf just showed a little bit of their hair, they could get beaten up on the street.
Yes.
As a woman, I don't really fancy going to Iran, not with the situation, although I support the women there and I really feel sorry for them. It's really sad.
Yes.
But even, I think I visited Iraq in 2018 to see my mom. And the
Hmm.
different, when I left, I was in university and we were following the latest fashion. We have full freedom.
Hmm.
I drive
Yes.
a sport car. I have a great life, you know. And I
Yes.
used to go out everywhere, and my hair, my long hair, I used to wear makeup. I used to wear the latest fashion. And then on 2018, I have to cover up. I'm not allowed to go out. I couldn't go out. Um, when I went out, my sisters, they have to cover up all of them. And there was no woman on the street. And only like old women completely covered up. So that's not the life I want to live. I have a lot of
Yes.
respect to Islamic religion, but I don't want to live this way, you know. And
Yes.
I've been in Egypt, and one of the things I went to Egypt, I told you I was an opera singer, and
Yes.
I went to the pyramid, and one of my dreams to do on my list is to go and sing inside the pyramid. So I walked into
Yes.
the pyramid and I went upstairs, and you know I'm coming out from very strong sun. So when I walked in,
Hmm.
inside the pyramid, there was a certain smell of like
Hmm.
the pyramid smell. And I walked in and I thought there was no one there because it was so dark. There's only small hole from the wall coming up with the sun later on
Hmm.
when your eyes get used to it. So I sang Ave Maria as an opera in a very loud voice because I had a very strong voice. And then suddenly some monk started doing Gregorian chanting with his deep voice as a male, with my high voice as opera. And then the security came and they said, no recording or no radio allowed to be here. And after like a few minutes, my eyes started getting used to the light. And then there were so many
Hmm.
people around, and I didn't know. But I sang, you know, Ave Maria in the middle of the pyramid. I sang Ave Maria the loudest I can on the wall of China. So this is one of the things I'm very proud of I achieved in my life. I would like to go
Yes.
to Taj Mahal one day and sing Ave
Yes.
Maria inside Taj Mahal. But that's one of the things I would love to do. Yeah.
Yes. Cherie, I want to thank you very much for this beautiful interview. Great talking to you. Wish you all the best
Thank you.
in the United States, in California. You know, looking forward for your new projects and your new films, maybe a television show in the United States, and your new music video creativity, visual arts. Huh? You are a multidisciplinary artist.
Thank you. I'm in the middle of it. Like I have a big database of filmmakers and directors and producers
Yes.
and musicians, and they're all contacting me now and like, oh, let's get together, let's have coffee. So I'm meeting a very
Hmm.
famous director now after this meeting at 1:30, and I think it's going to
Great.
be great. I was talking to another
Yes.
director. He said to me he's going to call a big agent and recommend me to them, and he wants me on his film. So LA is
Yes.
full of opportunity and full of dreams,
Of course.
and the most
Of
beautiful
course.
things you just don't know what next. And I like that
Yes.
because suddenly something gonna happen, something gonna break, and you don't know who you meet, and your life changed completely. But I would like to
Of course.
thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and I hope your audience like the interview. And
Of
thank
course.
you for your time. Thank you.
Shukran.
شكرا جزيلا.
Yeah. Bye bye. Thank you very much, Sherry. Au
Thank you.
revoir.
Bye bye. Over. Bye.